Hello and welcome to the Hard Questions. I'm Solomon Serwanja. On this episode, I host the CEO of The Independent and veteran journalist, Andrew Mwenda, to speak about the political transitions that are happening in this country. Andrew Mwenda, thank you so much for accepting to speak to us.
My pleasure to be hosted by you, my grandson. By the way, you forgot my title, Old Man of the Clan. You are going to be kicked out of the clan for that kind of oversight.
Andrew Mwenda, thank you so much, the Old Man of the Clan.
Yes.
On 11th of January 2023, you were actually elected, or you were appointed the Speaker of the MK Army and Movement. What is this movement about? The MK Army, I believe, by the former commander of the Land Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, and he is also the presidential advisor on special operations, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, and he appointed you as the spokesperson of the MK Army and Movement. What is this movement about?
So first of all, let me tell you this. One, many Ugandans believe that it's time for us to have a transition from President Museveni. They have looked at the Kizza Besigye, who has let them down. They have looked at Bobby Wine, who has let them down, and now they have identified Muhoozi Kainerugaba as a potential leader, and they're inspired by him. These young people have organized a grassroots movement across the entire country. And every day on my phone, I receive messages from LC officials in Arua, in Kotido, in Gulu, in Kitgum, in Kisoro, in Kabale, in Kanungu, in Fort Portal, in Masindi, across the entire country. People want to join this movement. So this is not a top-down movement as people think. It's a grassroots movement. I'm sure it has taken Muhoozi himself by surprise and has taken everybody by surprise. And you can even see how it has diffused the whole, it has busted the bubble that was Bobby Wine. It has disappeared. So I think that the aspirations of these young people, their belief in a better Uganda, and their belief that Muhoozi represents that future they are looking for, is something that should be applauded.
All right. And he seems like, if you called it a grassroots movement, he seems to have been captivated. In fact, he tweeted on his official Twitter handle that, in the name of Jesus Christ, my God, in the name of all the young people of Uganda and the world, and in the name of our great revolution, I will stand for presidency in 2026. We're talking about a serving military officer publicly declaring and involving himself in politics of this country. What does that speak about him?
Perhaps let's put it this way. I don't think that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba can run for president in violation of the Army Code of Conduct. He's a disciplined officer and he knows the rules of the army very well.
He's actually in politics and talking about politics, traversing the country and speaking about politics.
To be a soldier is to be political. The army in Uganda, Uganda People's Defense Forces, you should know, is a very political army. It's not a passive army that is of mercenaries. It's a political army charged with the duty of protecting the territorial integrity and the independence and sovereignty of Uganda. So to that degree, and UPDF specifically, the way it was born in the bushes of Luweero, it's a political army. That is one. Two, General Muhoozi would have to retire from the army for him to run. And for him to run, he can only run as a candidate of the NRM. So he would have to go into the NRM primaries and be elected there. You get it? So there he was expressing his ambitions, but those ambitions will be mediated by the internal politics of the army to do with his retirement, but also with the fact that he would have to contest inside the NRM. So if President Museveni is fronted by the NRM as the candidate, Muhoozi cannot run against President Museveni. That I can give you assurance.
General Muhoozi was the commander of the Land Forces.
Yes.
He's a general who understands the army very well. In fact, he's been promoted and is one of the celebrated generals in the army because of his ranks. I'm sure that he's aware of Section 99 of the UPDF Act that provides that a serving officer who desires to seek political office shall first resign and retire from the army.
Yeah,
then what keeps him increasingly talking about politics and his political ambitions when he's a serving member of the National Army.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying. I don't think that UPDF soldiers have been banned from talking about political
It
subjects.
is clear in the
case,
UPDF Act.
UPDF has members, has representatives in the parliament. You think they are not supposed to speak on issues that come up on the floor of
And it's
parliament?
clear that they are listening posts.
Let me ask you, no.
It is.
Historically, many officers of the UPDF, by the way, including Dr. Kizza Besigye in 1996, I have a video of him standing on a platform with President Museveni at a rally in Rukunjiri in 1996. It is these people, when they get out of UPDF, begin claiming things they know to do. Muntu was always talking about politics as a serving officer. He was always attending NRM National Executive Council meetings. I have meetings in the year 2000 when the NRM met at the conference center. Muntu was there. He's among those people who said that Besigye should be allowed to run. So he was participating in politics. How can they say that somehow when Mwenda speaks, it's a crime? But when they have always been speaking, it wasn't a crime.
It doesn't make it right. He's breaking the law.
Which law has he broken?
The UPDF Act is very clear.
Yes, maybe controversial partisan politics, but not to comment on politics.
Let's talk about, you're a celebrated journalist and you've
Don't
covered...
we host armed officers on television talk shows?
Well, we do, but they talk about security. But let's talk
But
about...
security is a political issue.
But let's talk about the...
Are you saying that the security is an economic issue?
Well, it can be a political
a
issue.
cultural
It's a
issue?
defense thing, but we're talking about a serving military officer who is actually involving himself in politics. And
That's what
you,
I'm saying.
my elder brother and my grandfather have been a journalist, and you've covered so many people who have suffered the brunt of just expressing themselves in politics. Talk about Sejusa, talk about Tumukunde, and the list is endless. And they have been punished. Their fingers have been banned for actually being political. And yet, General Muhoozi hasn't been disciplined. In fact, there have been arguments that he deserves to be court-martialed for actually being an active political,
this is where I
a political person who is a serving military officer.
Solomon, you are suffering from historical amnesia. I have told you that Dr. Kizza Besigye, Kano Serwanga Lwanga, Nobo Mayombo, Tinya Fuz, they were in the Constituent Assembly. They spoke all the politics they needed to speak there. Go and check the Hansard. Every day, Uganda hosts armed officers on television talk shows, on radio talk shows, and they write in newspapers discussing matters that are political. So it is not true that UPDF officers...
Give me an example of a serving military officer who has actually spoken politics.
A serving army officer?
Yeah.
But every day you host them on television, don't you?
Tell me.
I can tell you that Henry, I have given you an example that Dr. Besigye campaigned from Museveni in 1996 in Rukunjiri. I have told you Muntu was seated in an National Executive Council meeting at Constitutional School. You should read articles I used to write in the Monitor. In the year 2000, defending the right of Besigye to run, Museveni wanted to block Besigye from running as a presidential candidate. And the people who defended the Besigye's right to run were among them was Mugisha Muntu. He was not arrested.
He was at that time. He was actually advocating that he is free.
No, he was not.
He was actually advocating that Kizza Besigye should be left to compete favorably.
Exactly. So why was
because he was defending his right.
So
his right to actually stand.
So Muhoozi should not defend his personal right to stand?
Muhoozi is involving himself in active politics. He is a military officer. He was actually a commander of the land forces.
Because you are running away from the issue. You have said army officers are not supposed to talk about politics. I give you examples. I've given you examples of Tinyefuza.
What happened to Tinyefuza when he started there?
By the way, Tinyefuza was only reprimanded when his talk became subversive to the state, even to Mukunde. But to Mukunde himself was always on radio. Andrew Mwenda, this person seated in front of you, I used to host Dr. Kizza Besigye and Tinyefuza on radio talk shows. They would debate politics and disagree. I can play you on my phone. Get me my phone there and I play for you scenes of Besigye and Tinyefuza fighting on Andrew Mwenda live. So it's not true that soldiers don't speak in politics in Uganda. I used to host Besigye with Nobo Mayombo on my talk show. I have hosted every office. I used to host
discussing security issues.
No. Discussing even overall politics of Uganda. Overall politics, we discuss security, we discuss politics. In any case, security is a political issue. It's not economic, it's not cultural. It's a political issue, security. Anyway, the point I'm making is this, that only when a UPDF officer has gone into public debate and discussed issues that are subversive to the state, the security of the state, that's when they have been penalized. Let me add another point, by the way. Whatever you may say, you should also, guys, recognize that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is not an honorary officer. He's a son of the president. I am sure Prince William in UK, you know, he's a serving officer of the British of the British Army? Is he treated like any other office of the army? There are certain realities we have to accept that come. Yes.
And you say that again, because it's important to be captured very clearly.
Yes.
You're saying that General Muhoozi should enjoy more privileges because he's a son of the president.
Of course. It makes him different from everybody else. Okay. Do you think
General Muhoozi is a serving military officer who has to follow the UPDF Act because he's in uniform?
Let me ask you, can you be like Muhoozi?
It doesn't make Muhoozi justified to break the UPDF Act because he is a son of the president.
But I have told you, BSJ has broken that act. If you think they have broken it, Tinyafuza has, Mayombo has, General Mugisha has, practically every... John Kazora was a member of parliament criticizing Museveni before he was retired. So, I can list 100 armed officers who have always discussed politics in Uganda and have not been punished. So why do you want punishment to be only for Muhoozi? Why? Why should he be singled out for punishment when all others have not been punished?
I'm saying General Muhoozi should retire from the army.
Mwenda was still an armed officer discussing politics. General Saleh was an armed officer discussing politics. Kadu Serwanga Lwanga was a soldier discussing politics. Please, Muhoozi is not the first armed officer of the UPDF to speak publicly about politics. That's not true.
Andrew Mwenda, let me read to you the act very clearly. Section 99 of the UPDF Act provides that a serving officer who desires to seek political office, not to just talk about politics, who desires to seek political office shall first resign and retire from the army, seeking political office.
So when
General Muhoozi has clearly made his point clear, openly, that he is going for the top seat. Clearly. He is a serving military officer. It should go beyond just talking about politics. He is expressing his desire.
Do you want to speak to yourself or you want to ask me?
No, I'm asking you because...
So let me assume General Muhoozi wants to run in 2026 and he plans to retire in 2025. Why are you jumping the ship? If he wants to run in 2026, maybe he will resign and retire in 2025. He's not running for president right now.
The law is saying 6. So...
No, you're saying...
No, you see...
The law is saying what? The law says, shall one who seeks office. So Muhoozi is going to seek this office, he said, in 2026. You read it yourself, his tweet. He said he will seek it in 2026. So, when 2026 comes and he wants to seek office, he will retire and resign.
You see,
it's that simple.
Andrew, I think that here you are being double-sided about the law, perhaps because you are the spokesperson.
Because I think that you guys want to crucify
Muhoozi. We're actually talking about a former commander of the land who understands clearly the law. If he wants to join the political arena, let him resign. And he'll be welcome.
He will.
Right now you're saying...
He will resign when he's going to run for office.
He is already doing campaigning across the country.
Where?
Everywhere, Andrew, where?
But if General Muhoozi goes and greets people, that means he's campaigning?
As what? Greets people as what? He's a special advisor on special operations.
Exactly.
Greeting people as what?
As an advisor to the president on special operations, as a citizen of the republic, me, I go and address people.
Andrew Mwenda, General Muhoozi has been going all across the country, literally waving to people and mobilizing. He's speaking about the army and waving at them and going political. We are going to be young people, my ambition. He is just an advisor.
Yes.
On special operations.
Yes.
Going to greet around people.
Yes.
Across the country.
Yes.
General Muhoozi is campaigning. He's expressing his views and talking about his mandate. When we come to power, we will do A, B, C, D, and E. It is not even the election calendar. He is a serving military officer.
So you are saying it's not the election calendar. So there is no election. It means he's not campaigning. You only campaign during election.
So what is he doing moving around the country?
He's greeting people as a special advisor to the president on special operations.
Which special operations
as a
is
senior
that?
advisor to the president on special operations. It is. Are you the one who defines...
to yourself,
yes,
and
let me ask you this, Solomon. Are you the one who defines special operations?
Special operation is to go around
I'm sure
and
the
greet
person
people.
who is advised on special operations knows what those special operations are, and if he was offended by his advisor not performing the role, he would have arrested him. I do not know why you are mourning more than the bereaved.
Let me make it clear, because he's using taxpayers' money. General Muhoozi is moving all across the country using cars which are government cars, using government fuel, going out to greet people everywhere. I'm a taxpayer. He has to be held accountable.
So how come you have not stopped President Museveni from moving around the
He
country?
is the head of state.
Exactly. This is
He's executing his constitutional mandate.
Yes. This
So
is
what
a senior
constitutional
advisor
mandate
to the
is Muhoozi doing, going across the country, using public resources and taxpayers' money?
I think on this question you have decided to listen to yourself because you don't want to hear my answers. I may as well keep quiet. But what I want to tell you, Solomon, is this. Muhoozi is a senior presidential advisor on special operations. By the way, that is at the rank of a cabinet minister. The person he's supposed to advise on special operations knows what those special operations are. He has moved with the government vehicles on those special operations. The person to be advised has not complained. I'm asking, why are you, as Solomon Serwanja journalist, more aggrieved than Museveni? Museveni should be the one complaining. Because when he appointed him, Muhoozi is not supposed to use his personal resources on special operations.
So moving around the country is special operation?
Actually, yes. Can I tell you something? The other day when we met the president was telling us, Muhoozi has moved around the country. People go to him, complain the following things are missing in Uganda. He listens, he reports to the president, and the president takes action on them. So whenever you see those what you call campaigns are not campaigns, these are meet the people tours where people are able to bring their concerns at the local levels to him. He takes them to the person whom he advises. And advises what should be done. So are you saying that should not be done?
Let me speak to you.
Or maybe, let me ask you this question, Solomon. What do you understand special operations to entail?
Well,
what should be, since you know better than Museveni who appointed him and gave that title, what do you think should be the terms of reference of General Muhoozi? What should be his job description? Please tell it to me.
No, it is basic. General Muhoozi is a serving military officer.
He's
an advisor to the president on special operations.
Yes.
We would always think it's the army. But
what are the terms of reference in that job?
Let me try to explain.
Answer the question, what are the terms of reference, since you know them better than everyone?
Andrew Mwenda, I may not know the terms of reference of
what is the job description
of General
what are the key duties he's supposed to do?
What I'm saying is the president knows that he advises him on special operations.
Have you tried to find out whether those meet the people tours he does are not part of the assignment the president gave him as an advisor on special operations?
Let me answer that. We have had General Muhoozi Kainerugaba celebrating birthdays, so to speak, across the country, using state resources of vehicles and fuel from the taxpayer. Are those special operations?
Let me first of all ask you, where did you see Muhoozi using government fuel? You gave him government fuel?
Of course. He drives cars. You know the cars Muhoozi drives when he's on. There is footage, Andrew. Let's not debate this.
So
General Muhoozi is going all across the country,
in the army celebrating. You leave your official car behind.
Is that official duty?
How do you separate that when he goes on those special operations and they coincide with his birthday? Isn't that official?
Special operations when he's saying I'm coming for a birthday party, I'm throwing a birthday party,
yes, but
and he's using government resources, government cars and fuel of taxpayers.
But I want to ask you, when a minister goes to meet people out there, he goes in what? In his personal car?
Well, it's bluntly abuse of office.
How?
Abuse. You're not doing official duty.
Who said it's
General Muhoozi is moving all across the country, celebrating
birthdays. Between his birthday and official duties. I have told you that on this meet the people towards Muhoozi has done, and I think for his birthday he went only 2 places. Listen to this. People come and present petitions to him. You call it a birthday. Yes, although it is a celebration of a birthday, but there is also official duties. People present petitions to him, which he takes to his appointing authority. I don't know why you refuse to digest that. It's a very simple thing. Can I tell you I'm a journalist, but I'm also a human being. So I may be going to Fort Portal, which is my home, to do my journalism work, but I also visit my mother. Does that mean that I went to Fort Portal to visit my mother?
Your intention is to visit your mother. It's that simple.
Okay.
So, but Andrew, let's draw it. Let's just.
To my mother, I have a story. It should not be aired.
Let's be blunt about this, Andrew. This is abuse of office. This is abuse of state resources.
No, it is you actually who has created a crisis where it doesn't exist. I have told you, General Muhoozi is an advisor to the president of special operations. You don't know his job description. You don't know his schedule of duties. You don't know anything. Now you are saying that he's abusing of state resources because he went to meet people. What do you know about these special operations? You, Solomon Serwanja. What do you know? Because you don't know anything. So I advise you that instead of belaboring this point to mathematical exhaustion, where you don't even have a point, it's a mute point you should leave. You should leave it because I think that Museveni should be the main person to complain and say, look, you are not performing your duties when you are visiting these
Andrew
people.
Mwenda, I'm a taxpayer. When taxpayers' resources are used for personal gains, I am concerned.
But where is the personal gain? So when he receives these petitions and takes them to the president to come, the other day he was visiting Kampala. Did you see him? Kampala roads. You think that was what? Abuse of taxpayers' funds?
As what? He's building Kampala roads as
Special operations. What do you understand by special operations?
special operations to see potholes in the city.
I have told you that the appointing authority has terms of reference he gave General Muhoozi.
I have heard you so many times taking on government officials for public expenditure.
Yes.
As a veteran journalist, as a person who have grown up listening to Andrew Mwenda live and someone who has confronted people in power and put truth to them, and you just sweep this under the carpet,
actually, I'm even
and
surprised, Solomon.
You just let it go like that?
Solomon, you know what even has surprised me? Because you have denied the fact that General Muhoozi, as the son of the president, should not have anything. Let me tell you, Solomon Serwanja, if you became president today, it is a responsibility of the state of Uganda to provide security to your children. Do you know that? Whether they are going for official duties or private duties, even when they are going to school, they'll be taken in armored cars because the security is at risk. So I want you to know whether Muhoozi is going for a birthday or for a personal party, the state of Uganda owes him a duty of protection because he's the son of a president. So if you see Muhoozi going, even if he's going on a private event, he's entitled to go in a government vehicle, to have escorts around him because they can kill him. And I can tell you, even the child of President Biden or Trump would be provided Secret Service protection. So before you condemn Muhoozi Serwanja and try to appeal to public sentiments out there,
No,
I want you to know that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is the son of a president. You read our constitution, it provides certain protections. Even Natasha Karujiri is provided protection.
Let's talk about...
So you know that. So if Muhoozi is going for his birthday party and he goes in a government vehicle and he goes with the escorts, it is part of his entitlement under the constitution as the son of a president. He's not only a son of a president, he's a general in the army. As a general in the army, he's entitled to an official vehicle which takes him to his home and also takes him to...
Have you seen General Muhoozi's entourage
Three.
of vehicles?
Actually, he moves with two vehicles, his car and an escort car. He does not move with more than that. I move with him all the time. I drive with General Muhoozi in his car, actually. Me and him behind, his driver in front.
Andrew, let's talk about...
Please, I want you to digest that. I, Andrew Mwenda, I drive with General Muhoozi in his vehicle. He moves in as a very honorary general. One vehicle, one police pickup in front, and his vehicle. But though sometimes we have driven from Entebbe, only me and him in his car, without bodyguards.
I will put footage that will speak otherwise of what you're saying.
If you ever see General Muhoozi moving in a convoy of more than two vehicles, take me to court. Take me to court. Unless he's moving with his friends. You see, if Muhoozi is going with me somewhere, he's going with you, Solomon. I put my car in behind his. You put yours. Hakim there puts there his. Don't accuse him of carrying all those cars. He moves in two vehicles. An army pickup in front and a UD vehicle behind.
Let's talk about General Muhoozi's tweets, because they have left many of us questioning and debating. Of course, we know his tweet on the Tigray crisis, when he was saying that he supports the TPLF, and that, of course, annoyed Abiy, Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He also said that his army will take over Nairobi, Kenya, in just a second. That was very deep, that the president had to come out to apologize because it had caused diplomatic tensions. Foreign Affairs came out and released a statement that Uganda's relations with Kenya continues to be strong. He keeps tweeting these things that have had very significant consequences to our national security, but also to our diplomatic relations with other countries. What does he think when he's tweeting these things?
No, I think that Muhoozi is a very unlucky person because he lives amidst people like you who are incapable of seeing humor. Essentially, you have said that because he's the son of the president, he's joining the UPDF, he should never crack a joke on Twitter. Anybody reading Muhoozi's tweets, that is going to occupy Kenya in 2 weeks. If you say you took it serious, Solomon Serwanja, I'll get depressed and be admitted to Tabeka.
This is why, because he was the commander of the land forces.
So?
You have a certain level of responsibility.
I thought you believed in freedom of expression, which includes the freedom to crack a joke, even if you are a soldier.
That I'm coming to kill you? Is that a joke?
Why did he say he's going to kill anybody?
No, that's what I'm saying. If he says I'm coming to kill you, I'm joking.
Actually,
my army will come and take over. I support the TPLF. That is not a joke for a serving military officer, a commander of the land forces.
Mwenda, I have called you previously or texted you and said I'm going to hang you. and you have not lost your sleep because Andrew Mwenda said, so whenever I threatened to castrate you or to hang you, how come you don't take me serious?
Andrew, this is serious for a commander of the land forces at that time to make such very significant statements, including at the peak of the Tigray crisis, including saying that they will take over Nairobi. Something that was so big that the president had officially to actually apologize.
Let me explain the context in which the president apologized. First of all, I can tell you from Ruto's own mouth that Ruto was not bothered by it. But what happened is the Kenyan elites, suffering from some hysteria I could not understand, took Moses' joke out of context, played it around as if he was going to move an army and attack them, and then created so much pressure in Kenya that Museveni decided, okay, let me apologize for this humor. Because if you make a joke and people don't understand it, or people deliberately misunderstand it, what do? So that was the only reason. Even you, Solomon Serwanja, you know deep inside your heart, you know that Moses was joking and people mistook it. He tweets very many jokes and these days he has stopped it because of that, because of people like you. Because of people like you deliberately manipulating his tweets and jokes to say that these are serious, that somehow Uganda was threatening to invade Kenya. Do you really think, Solomon, be honest, do you really think that Muhoozi was moving Uganda's army to invade Kenya when you read it? No. Did you consider it to be a serious promise of what he was going to do? Please don't lie. I want you to be honest. Not to me, to you. It's called integrity.
Well, yeah.
You believe that Uganda was going to invade Kenya?
My views may not necessarily matter.
Let's get your views.
My views may not necessarily matter because...
Let's assume they don't matter, but can you give your views?
You see...
When you read it, you got concerned that Ugandan army was going to move from here and go and cross Busia and go to Nairobi?
If the president came out and issued... I'm explaining myself. If the president came out and gave an official statement and said, sorry...
Before the president...
We are so sorry, this was a joke.
You read Muhoozi's tweet after the president had apologized or before?
What do you mean?
When you read the tweet initially of Muhoozi, did you consider it serious?
As a commander of the land forces, yes.
You thought Uganda was going to move to whatever?
You were no, Andrew. You were commander of the land forces. You hold a powerful office to a commander of the land forces, and you think you'll just joke around with matters of security, that you support the TPLF? What does that make you?
Let me ask you this, Serwanja, because you want to become emotional and take it serious. So the person affected in this case was Kenya. How come Kenya did not move its troops to the border to defend itself if they thought that Muhoozi was serious?
No, the question would be, why did the president apologize?
No, I already answered that. The president of Uganda had apologized because the Kenyans misunderstood the joke. Kenyan elites, not the military, not the government. Kenyan elites misunderstood the joke, or for that matter, deliberately decided to misunderstand the joke and politicize it. And that's how Museveni responded. But the Kenyan government, did it move one soldier? Because if a general of Uganda threatened them, did the Kenyan government issue a statement about it? Did the Kenyan army go on high alert? Did the president of Kenya complain? Do you know anything about Kenya that happened? If they did not take it as a joke. So I get surprised that you, a Ugandan who knows Muhoozi very well, could claim that you feared that this was not a joke, but a serious statement, and you thought Ugandan troops were already, and tanks were already moving to Busia. When the Kenyan government affected party, did even nothing, the Kenyans slept comfortable, even those elites did not evacuate Nairobi, which was going to occupy. It shows you how hypocritical those Kenyan elites were. If the Kenyan elites thought Muhoozi was serious, how come we did not see a single vehicle move out of Nairobi to say we are evacuating the city because Muhoozi is going to take it over? How?
Andrew.
How come we do not see them petition their government to say, look, please, we want to see our army lorries moving towards Busia and Malaba? Why?
Prime Minister Abiy wrote a diplomatic protest against President Museveni's Sand Street, the land.
Do you have a copy of it?
Well, it's there. I know it's on record that there's a diplomatic note that actually was signed by Prime Minister Abiy contesting and expressing his disappointment in the statement or the tweets by General Muhoozi that he
do you know a copy of
supported the
do
TPLF.
you have the tweet? Do you have the tweet?
Well, I have sources just like you.
No.
I have sources.
First of all, let me first explain to you. Let me clarify for you these issues, because you said I'm the spokesperson of the Muhoozi movement. Really, I deal with Museveni and I deal with the President Museveni and I deal with the General Muhoozi more regularly than you do. So I have better information than you too. By the way, I deal with Abiy. I actually was involved in trying to resolve the issue between Tigray and Ethiopia. Up to Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, were involved in an activity, me and the Secretary General of the UN, to resolve the issue. So I'm much more informed about this matter than you. So I would suggest that you listen to me as a journalist so that you can know and your listeners know what exactly happened. Muhoozi never tweeted, said he supports TPLF, rather the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front. No. He simply said he knows they are hard fighters and they're not easy to defeat. You can go and check his tweet. That's what he said. And two, at that time, the government of President Ahmed Abiy were busy bombing Tigray. And as a Pan-Africanist, Muhoozi simply said that what was happening by the Ethiopian forces was almost equivalent to ethnic cleansing in Tigray. I want to know whether you believe that an African, a liberal, democratic-minded person like you believe that a person of Muhoozi's caliber should keep quiet when such gross human rights violations akin to ethnic cleansing and genocide are taking place. You would be proud to have Muhoozi as a general keeping quiet over something like that? Muhoozi has spoken about the issue of M23 also. Tutsi Banyamulenge in Congo are being killed every day. There is a genocide taking place there. You think because he's a general in the UPDF he should keep quiet? He should not say this is a wrong thing? Are you saying that Uganda should have kept quiet, or all generals of Uganda should have kept quiet in 1994 when a genocide was taking place in Rwanda? So I personally think that the Ugandan journalists trying to pick fights with Muhoozi, you actually don't even pick the wrong issues, where I would imagine you should be with Muhoozi to say no. Even if you are a serving army officer, you are carrying a rank of a general in the army, you are a commander of the land forces, in a sister African country, there is ethnic cleansing and something close akin to genocide taking place, and you keep quiet. And Mwenda, whilst I agree with you, but the official channels of communication on issues of defense and military, it was the responsibility of the Ministry of Defense to come out with a statement to actually speak or condemn what was happening in Tigray. Or maybe the head of state, who is the commander-in-chief, and the Pan-Africanist king, who actually would have come out to make a statement. Yes, but there was. Let me ask you this:
for a general in the army who understands the communication channels.
So let me ask you this: Uganda was communicating to Ethiopia during all this time, so the diplomatic communications were taking place. But don't you think it was important for a public figure of his profile to say something about this in public? Yes. Can I tell you, if I was a serving army officer in Germany, in Britain, in France, and the Nazis were beginning to kill the Poles en masse, I would speak out. Why not?
You understand that?
Yes. You have not seen American generals speak about the war in Russia. You have not seen.
You know that they.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I have seen them, but there are protocols and procedures for serving military officers to comment on foreign missions.
Yes.
Not just to wake up and say.
So do you have evidence that Muhoozi did not follow those protocols?
I'm asking you. Just speak out about what's happening and all that.
Good point, Solomon Sarwanja.
This protocol, this procedure.
Solomon, I need to ask you a simple question. So there are protocols. Do you have evidence that those protocols were not followed before he tweeted?
I know that official communication on issues of the
before he tweeted.
I go through official channels.
I have told you every day. Bring me my laptop. I play for him on YouTube. The American generals there speaking about the war in Ukraine. American generals. Why do you think that American generals should talk about Ukraine? Muhoozi cannot talk about Ukraine, which is 30,000 kilometers away from the United States, but Muhoozi cannot talk about 1,000 kilometers away from here. Please, I'm asking you why. I have not seen you condemn these American generals who are every day on TV commenting on the war in Ukraine. But the Ugandan serving army officer cannot talk about the war here. next to our brothers.
Many of those who comment, I don't know, I've not seen any active general. Most of them are retired generals who actually comment.
No, even serving generals.
On that.
Even serving generals.
Mostly.
The chairman
Because
of the
I know
Joint
that
Chiefs,
it's
the chairman of the
Pentagon.
Central
If
Command.
there is any official communication that has to come out, a position of the
No.
United States.
Many
must
serving
to
army
the
officers.
Pentagon.
Then you are not following the story.
Okay, let's settle that. Let's conclude, or let's speak about the issues of, again, on tweets. There are some tweets that General Muhoozi makes, and you think, is he okay? Is he okay?
Which tweet
he
is
has
that?
talked about women and pictures of women with tight pants and saying women you've seen them.
But wait, what?
And he has talked about.
So you have said he's okay. You have said so.
Women,
So
we are
you have
bringing
said
all
he
the
should
women
not talk
and
about politics.
the women.
You have said he should not talk about security in Ethiopia. Now you're saying he should not even talk about women.
Putting on tight pants and saying,
So what do you want him to speak about?
And all that.
So you
A
said he
person
can't
of
speak
his-
on security.
A person of his stature and his profile and his ambitions as a leader, there's some really tweets that then you would think, okay, is General
So
Muhoozi
Solomon,
okay?
since you have been talking alone, can I also
Please,
put in my voice?
I'm listening.
My grandson Solomon Sarwanj, I want you to know that first and foremost, Muhoozi is a human being. First and foremost, don't take his humanity away. 2, he's a Ugandan. 3, he's an African. 4, he's a general in the UPDF. 5, he's the son of the president. He wears many hats. Do you think Muhoozi, the human being, should be devoid of all color, that he should never comment on something cultural, joke about girls? Really? Which you do every day, and somehow he's... Why are you trying to get this guy to have no role, to be some statue? Why are you trying to turn Muhoozi into a statue? Because Museveni's son? That should take away his humanity? I'm asking you, Sarwanj, Muhoozi jokes about girls, don't you?
I'll tell you this. When you are a prospecting leader or someone who wants to show that you can actually lead this country forward, there are some minimum values that you need to stand for. Even when you want to talk about some of those things, you cannot absolutely say them or put them out in the way you think or feel. That this is what I think.
That's the gospel.
I'm just
That's
trying
the
to answer.
gospel according to
I'm
which
just trying
saint.
to answer that. To whom much is given, much is expected. You are vying yourself as a future leader of this country. There are bare minimums that the public expects from you.
And one of those bare minimums?
Is not to show women in tight pants and talking about women.
What's wrong with women wearing tight pants? You mean you're a sexist?
I'm not.
You don't believe that women should be free to dress as they dress?
Don't get that kind of sexists. I'm talking about a leader who actually posts all this.
No, what's
You've
wrong?
seen these tweets and
Yes, what's wrong with a leader, even the president of Uganda, tweeting pictures of girls wearing tight pants? You have serious sexist problems.
No. I don't
You
have
want
sexist
okay. So you are saying if they were wearing gomesi, that's okay.
Andrew.
You are saying you should have tweeted them wearing gomesi. So you want to somehow define how women should dress?
No, I'm just saying that he needs to portray virtues of a leader.
But these are
But
virtues.
there's
So you, Solomon Sarwanja, you have said what you consider to be virtues of a leader. All these masses of Ugandans who support him, you think they should not define those virtues?
I'm just saying, Andrew. So you advise the general to actually post about
I don't need to advise
anything
him.
he likes, anything
No,
he
I'm
feels
saying
like as a leader, as a general, where you can tweet when you're partying or when you're having, all these babes around you, or
Have you seen him with pictures of girls around him?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There are different pictures that have been all over social media and posted on his official account
Of ladies, not with him.
but of ladies, I know, and all these.
And him appreciating their beauty. You are saying that General Muhoozi should not appreciate Ugandan beauty?
Minimums, Andrew. Okay, when we
Yes,
laughed
but
and joked about
here I
everything,
really think that
there are bare minimums.
you Solomon, what you have done is you're trying to find cause somehow to get Muhoozi in the wrong.
No.
And in failing
I'm
to
just
find,
trying to say
and
that
finding,
he should portray
in-
like a leader that he claims
yes,
to be.
exactly. So, and can I tell you, the vast majority of Ugandans who are so passionate about him, don't see him to have done anything wrong. It is you who is not his support actually, not his fan, who is trying to invent some problem in his tweets about girls. Those Ugandans, you want me to call them? I can call them, they will tell you they're very happy with his tweets.
Really?
Yes, about girls. Very, very satisfied. In fact, it humanizes him. They are able to relate to him. Ugandans want to have a president whom they can sit with in a bar and have a drink. He may be a leader, yes, but he must be a leader who connects with them. We don't want a leader who is so detached he comes across as a prophet or a philosopher. He's not used the ways of the people. We want a leader who is one of us. That is why many Ugandans are attracted to Bobi Wine, because we have videos of him smoking weed, we have videos of him dancing naked, we have videos of him doing many things, hanging around girls and all those things. In other words, he comes across as authentic. But somehow, what is good for Bobi Wine is not good for Muhoozi. I find that strange. I find that strange that somehow you, Solomon Serwanja, you have created a different standard for Muhoozi and are trying to impose it on him, even if that standard is not agreeable to his vast majority of his fans. Muhoozi's fans like him because he's human. In fact, they're more attracted to him the more human he is. They don't want a stiff leader who is detached from people, who appears to lead a life that is different from that of an ordinary person. So Muhoozi is a normal human being, and his tweets have humanized him and have generated this huge momentum from the grassroots of people who are looking up to him because they see themselves in him. And he is able to tell them that even you, wherever you are, you can also be like me, you can be a leader. In other words,
so you're literally encouraging him to keep tweeting whatever he wants because he's a person.
Not whatever he wants. If Muhoozi was to tweet whatever he wants, you'd have seen more tweets that would have offended your interesting moral sensibilities. But
let's finish up this interview with just two things. One,
why are you so harsh on Muhoozi? I want to know.
I want to hold him accountable.
You want to hold him on such a standard that is non-human. He's a human being. You should subject him to human standards. He's not God. Even Jesus Christ, when he came here, remember, he lived an ordinary life, lived like us, even died like us, felt pain, went hungry, walked the streets of Nazareth. I told you, I don't believe in Jesus as a son of God. I believe in Jesus as a moral philosopher. They would follow Karl Marx, Adam Smith, Socrates, or Aristotle.
Okay. Andrew, let's talk about this. You recently were in Kigali, Rwanda.
Yes.
With General Muhoozi and some people. And it was celebration of birthdays and turning parties you shared. And I'm really happy that you share some of those, pictures and footage inside the power, inside the centers of power. So we get to sort of see some of those things and get enlightened. And you chartered a flight, Uganda Airlines. That doesn't cost less than $200,000.
Who told you that?
Well, I know, because if you're chartering a flight, especially to airspace that you've not gone to, it's quite expensive. What is the source of revenue or source of
First of all,
that you used to go all across the country to do all those birthdays, to charter flights to Rwanda and celebrate birthdays and talk about casual stuff, and what is the source of money? What is the source of funding?
First of all, you stop exaggerating that to charter a flight from 45 minutes from Entebbe to Kigali costs $200,000.
Yes, best that you
no, it's not true. It's not true. The second thing is that there are so many well-wishers. If Muhoozi even devoted 2% of his time to raising funds, the MK movement right now would have $100 million in his bank account without touching government of Uganda funds. There are so many people here and abroad who are willing to invest in the MK movement, and he has deliberately tried to avoid them. So that is the reality of the matter. There are many people in the Ugandan business community, many of them we traveled with them, who are willing. $200,000 is pocket change to many businessmen in Uganda. They would charter for him a plane. The MK movement has not used a single government dollar. All those birthday parties were not hosted at government expense. You can call Toyota and interview him. You can call Balam. You can call all the people involved in these organizations. They raise money from well-wishers. The government of Uganda is not involved. You can go to State House, there is a comptroller there, he accounts Auditor General, let them audit those books and see $1 that was moved from State House to finance these events. $1.
Andrew Mwenda, thank you so much for speaking to us.
The pleasure has been all mine.
I've been speaking to Andrew Mwenda, CEO of The Independent and also veteran journalist, and recently under another title. He is the spokesperson of the MK movement and army. I'm Solomon Serwanja, and this is The Hard Questions.